this is Gilgamesh. I'm a little late to this. I want to talk about what happened on the 1st of this, January the 1st. Well, our government did it again. They did another PSYOP. And I've heard Kim Iverson talk about this. I've heard other people talk about it. Yes, it was a giant PSYOP. How do we know? Because this Zionist reporter was allowed to go in supposedly one of these guys' apartments, and the Quran was open. And if you know anything about Muslims, they don't leave the Quran sitting open. This place was staged to look like a giant psyop. I mean, the barriers where they do Mardi Gras are usually up. For some reason, they weren't here, and this guy was able to drive and run people down. That is terrorism. The other guy, he's apparently, from what we learned, is a giant. He was supported Trump and Elon Musk. So why would he? And the thing is, his body is, there's no physical evidence of who, except for his ID and his apparently a debit card said who he was. Now, I find that suspicious. That no one, and supposedly he committed suicide, yet nobody around heard a gunshot go off. Yeah. What I think was this guy, they killed him, and they staged his body in the vehicle and set it on fire right outside one of Trump's hotels in Vegas, and blew it up. And yet his ID and he went to Fort Bragg, where the guy who did the one where Mardi Gras happened on Bourbon Street. He was born in America. His parents immigrated from and so they're both Americans. Okay, this guy, supposedly supported ISIS, yet the flag's upside down. This smells like a complete psyop. It's like when I say Oklahoma City bombing was a psyop. Think about it. Bill Clinton, 3 months in his presidency, has Waco, Texas go complete. And who was the Attorney General? Janet Reno, the same Attorney General that fucked up Ruby Ridge and got Randy Weaver's wife and son killed. This is the same woman who fucks up and caused Waco, Texas. So everyone's pissed at Clinton. They screwed it up. People got murdered by the government. So what happened? Oklahoma City, that distracts everybody, makes everyone forget about Waco, Texas. So yes, this smells exactly like that. It's a giant psyop done to make you forget about what's going on in Syria, make you forget what's going on in Ukraine. Yes, we need to go to war. And you got idiots who fall for this. Going, yeah, we need to fight. It's just like when Trump, and I'll tell you why, his attempt on his life was a giant psyop, because he then repeats what the bullshit the government says. Yeah, we know Iran was behind it. With no proof, Trump goes, I've seen the evidence. No, you haven't. None of this was done by Iran. This was a giant psyop. I've said before, I'll repeat it. When is an assassination attempt not just a shot in the air when you hire 2 Marine snipers, one to shoot the air and the other to hit 3 people? Yes. And all these people say, he jumped out of the bush. That's an attempt on it. Really? That's how dumb and lazy people are? You hear about a guy jump out of the bush, getting shot at, and run away. That's an attempt on Trump's life? How lazy have we gotten? That our attempts, the attempts on Trump's life go. Guy jumps out of bushes, runs away after getting shot at by the Secret Service. The guy doesn't make it anywhere near, gets stopped. That's an attempt on Trump's life. Oh, yeah. And then we have Elon Musk. Elon Musk decides, and I hate fucking Elon Musk. He starts acting like he's some big cock on the walk, and he isn't. He isn't. He's an idiot. People go, he's Tony Stark. He hasn't made his one thing he designed with that Tesla truck, and it looks like shit. It is a piece of shit. I've seen people driving. I'm like, that's ugly. But yeah, that's the one thing he designed. He actually came up with one idea. Everything else, he's never designed shit in his life. And I've mentioned what H-1B are. They're about slavery. He has already replaced a lot of his workers with those illegals. So yeah, and that started going on. Him and Vivek get in hot water with the MAGA, and then we have January the 1st. these, and I guess New York had one, I think, but the one in New Orleans and the one in Vegas were, they were part, because the guys went to Fort Bragg. Oh, what was Fort Bragg? It's named after a former Confederate general. Oh my God. We have to rename it because the Confederate, people in the Confederacy. The North had slaves too. Let's stop acting like the South were oh my God, they were bad guys because they owned slaves. The North owned slaves too. Read the book Uncle Tom to understand what Northern slavery was like. It was actually a lot worse than the South. But get back to now Elon Musk. When this whole thing got Laura Loomer in trouble. I don't even like Laura Loomer, but she's been punished because she criticized Elon Musk. He took away her badge, said she can't be monetized. He started blocking and kicking people off Twitter. I knew this shit was coming. Now we have Mark Zuckerberg saying Meta's not going to fact check anymore. We're talking about bullshit. It's essentially they're going to censor people, and the censorship's going to get worse. With Trump coming in, you had Free Palestine TV, never been punished at all, never got in trouble, never had a video, had their entire channel on YouTube taken down. Why? Because they tell what's going on, and they show what's going on in Lebanon, and this is Trump, so you can't criticize Israel, you can't show anything about what's going on in Gaza, you can't really relate what's going on in Lebanon. So we have censorship. And it's only going to get worse, people. Trump apparently is getting fed up with Elon, which doesn't surprise me. Elon's a giant man-child. People say, oh, he's the president. No. I hear, oh, Kevin Lurie's going to buy TikTok. No, he's not. Let me dispel that myth right there. China already said they're not going to sell TikTok to America. They're not going to sell it to anybody. They're going to take it. If this ban remains, they're just going to remove it. It's going to come back to China. They're not going to let America get their hands on their algorithm or anything involving their IP. They don't trust America because America's tried to steal their shit in the past. And then Trump, he comes out and says, before Justin Trudeau finally said he's going to resign after his party picks a new prime minister, and of course the other side said they're going to do everything to basically upheaval the government to start new elections. I don't care. Trump goes, we should make Canada our 51st state. Oh, stop it, Trump. I know you're trolling, you're stupid, but the response from somebody in Canada and the government said, hey, hey, Washington, Oregon, California, join Canada. We got free healthcare. I'll tell you right now, look into Canada's free healthcare. You ain't going to want it because it may be free, but their taxes make it not free. 2, people have complained how they've had to wait for at least a year to have surgery, actual surgery. We're talking regular Canadians have said for years they have to wait to have a surgery, a year to have surgery on anything. Yeah, and Steven Crowder, as much as I don't like the guy, I've seen his video where he lived in Canada at one time. He went back to, I think it was Montreal, Canada. He brought one camera, he actually talked to people, and he talked to his friend needed to go to the emergency room, to the hospital, so they went, and they waited 18 hours, I think it was, and then they talked to a nurse, and they said, well, if you want to talk to a doctor, you get private insurance. Because if you're doing this, you're never going to see a doctor, and then talk to a lady whose friend had to wait a year for surgery and lost both her legs and was given a wheelchair. I mean, yeah. So, plus you don't have any free speech in Canada. They've taken away people's rights up there worse than yeah. So why would I want to live in Canada? Ooh. It's a beautiful country. I wouldn't want to live there. And then he talked about Greenland. Wow, yeah, we're gonna take Greenland. No, you're not. You're not gonna do shit. Panama. Oh yeah, I brought up we should take. First of all, 31 Americans and Due Distance covered this. I think it was 31 actual Americans died in the commission of building the Panama Canal. Most of the people that died were all from Barbados and the Caribbean, the islands in the Caribbean. Yeah, the blacks, these black people on these Caribbean islands were the ones who were brought in, and they were treated as like shit. They were given they were the ones that had to deal with explosions. They didn't get the type of food and treatment that the white people did. Yeah. So, yeah, we don't, and Trump's like, we're gonna tear the fucking dumb motherfucker. Yeah. But yeah, this whole thing is a giant psyop to make you forget, oh yeah, this is going on, this is going on. You know, Elon's running his mouth, and when Trump does get sworn in, Elon's going to be pushed out. He's not going to get confirmed. RFK ain't getting confirmed. Tulsi might, because she's a giant Zionist shitbag and really, really, really is all about, you know, wanting to overthrow other countries. Syria's a complete mess. I mean, the terrorist government, you know, begged Russia to stay, and looks like they may be pulling out because they're already in Libya where they have slavery. Yeah. Russia never cared about, I said it, Putin caused Assad to resign. And Erdogan controls the Black Sea. That's why he controlled Russia. People forget this. You know? And, yeah. And, oh, then you have the Golden Globe snub, Nosferatu. Oh yes, Demi Moore did get a Golden Globe for Substance. I love that movie. I do. I've done a review of it. I thought it was the second best movie of the year. And Demi Moore's an amazing actress, and she was great. But the fact was, they had to snub Nosferatu for her to get that. And I'll just say one more thing about Nosferatu. The acting in it, yes, it's meant to be exaggerated. Yes, Lee Rose definitely exaggerated her seizure, so you understand what hell she's going through. That's why in the original silent film, everybody exaggerated everything. This hand gestures and emotions and everything. Even Count Olaf exaggerated his, just with his facial expressions, his eyes and everything. Yeah. So that's expressionism. That was what German expressionism was. And so yeah, we get back to January the 1st was a giant psyop done by the government. And the Zionist reporter went in and walked around the apartment, contaminating, as an investigation is going on, contaminates the entire crime scene of a staged apartment to go, and this is CNN, you know, just like Calissa, their female reporter who faked that she came under a missile attack and lied on the ground while people walked behind her, and also went into one of Syria's prisons where a guy they try to claim was an inmate, the last one, where they turns out the camera, if you shoot a lock, do understand the bolt's going to ricochet off. It's not going to take the lock out. As much as you see that in TV and video games, if you shoot a bullet at a lock, it's going to bounce, ricochet off. It's not going to actually do yeah. And this guy has supposedly been in this cell with no light or anything for months, and then they go on, what does he do? He looks up. If you go into a dark area with no light for a long time and you do this, you might go blind. You definitely will have get a headache and everything. It's like when you go from dark and you notice how you're blinded by the light. Yeah, it'd be worse if you went. I just came out of dark. Your eyes haven't fully gotten to the point where they're used to the light, so you're going to be like this. And he didn't do any of that. He looked well taken care of, manicured, all that stuff. Yeah. And all these corporations are now kissing Trump's ass because they want that government money. They want that welfare. That's why Elon's hanging all over Trump, because he doesn't want to lose that welfare money that he doesn't pay any taxes on. Yeah, you have Nancy Pelosi coming into the House using a fucking walker. Jesus Christ. You know, AOC tried to run for the DNC, and she was soundly told to fuck right off. You know, you had Ro Khan on R&B, and the fact that he did this, and I know why he did it, because they lost the black vote to Trump, and they're worried. And it didn't make me feel comfortable. I watched the whole thing, and Nick Cruz did a good job, but he said things that I would have actually said, what? First of all, he did criticize, you know. At one point, he points out a message that he put out, but here's the thing: he says Israel has a right to exist. No, it doesn't. And Nick Cruz didn't hit back at that. There's no historical fact that these Europeans existed in that area. That's a lie that Nick Cruz should have hit back at. I would have, but I don't do this. I've never done a podcast or anything. I mean, I do dissidents because those guys need me. They need my sense of humor and everything, because God, they need help. No, I joke, of course, but yeah, everything's been just a giant, like, chill out, people. Trump is like, oh, we should make this, we should do this, da da da. Yeah, good luck when you can't even end the war in Ukraine. You have no plan to end it. Oh my God, Russia even knows you're full of shit, Trump. Yeah. Oh, the next pandemic's coming. We're going to be locked down while they bring in more Indians to replace the workforce. We'll get more. We'll have another lockdown. No, the COVID did not come from China. Another lockdown's coming next year. Oh, this year, I mean, with the bird flu's coming back. Oh my God, bird flu. Yep, and they'll tell people, you have to stay home. We'll give you another check to stay home, which is coming. I have a feeling when they do the next lockdowns, and Trump will be instrumental in that, he'll say, we have to lock down because this is deadly. And then he'll say, we'll give you $2,000 checks not to go out. Okay. People will stay home. They're used to it. They'll be back to streaming shit. People doing podcasts. Only the reason I can't do one on Rumble is because I have to figure out the intro video, which is like a countdown. That whole thing, I looked into it. It used to be you paid for it and then you could stream. Now you have to do it, which I'll ask Due Dissidents about that. But yeah, if somebody said, hey, why don't you come out and talk about this and, all this stuff? It's like, yeah, Trump's a giant idiot. And apparently he's sick of Elon Musk. We are all sick of Elon Musk. No, we are all sick of Elon Musk. He can go fuck right off. And I'm not going to hide how much I really despise that fucking man baby. He's not smart. Elon's an idiot. Trump's an idiot too, but even Trump's realizing Elon Musk is acting like something he isn't. He isn't running the country. He's not the president. He's allowed to be a man-child because once Trump's in, Peter Thiel will sit Elon down and tell him go to fuck off. You're not going to be in government. He knows it. And he'll still get his government. He'll get that fucking sweet, money from the government because of Starlink and SpaceX and everything. He will still get that government money where he doesn't pay taxes on. So yeah, don't worry, Elon, you're still going to get your government contract because your buddy Peter Thiel still runs the country. Yes, he knows Mary Adelson and she, that's why he's bringing people. Peter Thiel understands the donors. He talks to them. He's rich. He's a billionaire, multi-billionaire. I mean, probably has more money than Elon, but he doesn't publicly tell anyone. Yeah, and he's going to cause a global crash on oil and natural gas. Speculators will deal with oil and natural gas, and when it comes to the rest, they'll crash the fucking global economy and make the dollar number one. I see this coming. I believe it's going to happen. But yeah, everything we're saying is psyop. We want war. They want you to forget what's going on in Gaza, and the war isn't over. The people are protesting. They want their hostages back, and they're not going to get them back because they won't stop killing the people of Gaza. They just attacked a hospital, kidnapped doctors and everything in northern Gaza. And Hezbollah's been sitting back while the government of Lebanon ain't done shit to stop Israel's invasion and attacking. And those days are ending of this peace agreement. And then fuck it, Houthi are actually just hitting Israel. They're not fucking around. You bomb them, they hit you. Iran's preparing. They know what's coming. They know war's coming. Trump ain't a peaceful man. He bombs the fuck out of Syria. Syria's government's falling apart. Erdogan's not winning shit. These sides, I think there's issues in Syria. And they have no weapons because Israel blew them all up. And they want Russia to stay. Russia's like, yeah, we're getting the fuck out of here. Russia's winning the war in Ukraine. They are. And I don't support Putin. I don't like the guy. Because he's a fraud when he says, the Russians, everything's great in Russia. Go to Siberia if you want to see how fucked up Russia is. Xi, on the other hand, did lift people out of poverty. And no, Kevin O'Leary will not get his hands on TikTok because China's not going to sell it. They'll take it back and fuck. Oh, yeah, and China just sanctioned the fuck out of American tech companies and companies like Lockheed Martin. And that means Taiwan's also going to be sanctioned. And that means they won't be able to make these chips so that America can use them to build their missiles. And they can't get the material, the raw materials, because a couple of them are only available in China and Russia, and they're not going to help at all. So yeah, things are going to get worse for this whole war that they want. But yeah, I just thought I would bundle this all together in one video, because I've got my robot, I've got a couple of videos. I've got a movie review of, what was it? The alligator people. Yep, I got H-1B, how it's all about slavery. That one I'll be uploading. But yeah, I just want to do this real quick and make it basic, as simple as possible. Yeah. Also, yeah, I'll bring up what happened on Raw. It was boring. It was basically, I watched Raw live. Let's say it's not for casual fans, like people that really love wrestling. It's for these people that paid to see it, like the people that were there, these marks, or the hardcore, as they call themselves, hardcore fans that really don't mind the shit being shit. I mean, it started with Rock coming out, and he, being corporate, ruined a story that he had been building with Cody, where he called himself the final boss. He has that title, but then he ruins it by recognizing Cody and not telling him, "No, tell your mother, bring it." It was hugging him. I mean, it literally ruined them facing each other at WrestleMania for the WWE title. And then we had the first match, which was, I'll say this, for the people there, what did Sikoa? I wanted Sikoa to win just to because I don't like Roman Reigns. And he takes one of these monitors. They're not the big old monitors, they're smaller, and he hits Roman Reigns in the head, and then he takes the steps and rams them into Roman Reigns. Of course, he got his hands up, so he didn't actually get hit in the head. But of course, you had the outside interference, which you expected. And then Kevin Owens got involved, and basically Cody waited to get involved, and and then of course, the non-shocker, all the matches went the way you expected. Roman Reigns wins, then The Rock comes out, and this was the moment where Rock could have actually set something up. Nope, he puts this hot peppers thing over Roman Reigns' head and hugs him. It's like, oh, way to go, Rock. You ruined a possible match with Roman Reigns. You ruined the one with Cody. Oh, and then John Cena came out and blah, 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 and ran his mouth and did a boring promo where he talks about, the whole not wanting to take away what Ric Flair had done, the 16-time world title, but then said, only way you can do if I enter and win the Royal Rumble, and then I'll win the world title. It was fucking stupid. And then we had Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan. This is about the best built-up match of all of it. The only one that's had a legitimate story going back to WrestleMania, when Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley had their match, and it goes before that where Rhea Ripley, during her title run, ended up they built up that she injured Liv Morgan. So after WrestleMania, Rhea Ripley got hurt, I think, at WrestleMania, but they didn't want to let people know that. So what they do, they have Liv Morgan attack her shoulder. She has to relinquish the title. Then Liv Morgan wins it. She taunts Rhea Ripley. These two are best friends in real life. And yes, Liv Morgan, I think, was at Rhea Ripley's wedding, and Dominic is married. But apparently he's fine. His wife is fine with him. Yeah. So they have their match, and Rhea Ripley wins. She takes the title back, then she kicks Dominic in the dick and basically falls down, and then Undertaker came out as his American badass, rode the bike around, then revved it and that moment was over. Here, I'm say right now, all these matches were ended clean. There was no controversy. Also, finishers don't mean shit because they kept, kicking out of finishers. It was so. Then we had 4 matches. Then you had I think at one point you had a segment in the back with, oh God, that was promoting Netflix and everything, and then Hogan comes out. He gets booed, by the way, and it's for two things connected to this. One is he went to the RNC because he's conservative. The other is because a lot of people, these Gen Zers, don't like him because he said the N-word. But they forgive people like Austin. They forgive Vince McMahon, who said the N-word to John Cena in front of Booker T and his wife. Yes, he did. These are the same idiots who listen to rap music and will sing the lyrics, including the N-word. Have no problem doing that. But then they have a problem with something Hogan said privately that he didn't know was filmed. Yeah. But they booed him. He was trying to promote his beer. It was like really bad. I mean, it was stupid. And then, okay, the third match was Drew McIntyre versus Jey Uso. They had Jey Uso win clean. There was no controversy, no bullshit. Drew McIntyre should have won. But no, they've had him lose to Jey Uso. Who cares? And they had people in the audience. They had Shinsuke Nakamura. They had LA Knight there. Oh God, it was just really dumb. 3 hours of boredom. And then the final match was CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. Swear to God, is Seth Rollins trying to be a model or a transvestite? The coat he wears was so fucking stupid looking. Punk came out to his usual and looked like he was wearing his old outfit, which I think this is pretty much what he wears. Their match was boring. Yeah, Punk ended up winning. He hit multiple go to help. At one point, they actually showed when Seth Rollins hit the go to sleep, they actually slowed it down where you see his knee hit CM Punk's forehead, and then he seemed to grab his knee. He seemed to, he touched his knee like it was bothering him. Throughout the match, towards the end, it looked like that Seth Rollins tweaked his knee when he did the first go to sleep. And then he did another one. And then he goes outside and he does the pedigree, and then he's limping and everything. Oh, he's showing signs that something he may or may not have, injured his knee. And then he does another go to sleep, and you can tell he grabs at his knee. He's either selling an injury, or he really did hurt his knee, or he's fake, which most likely he's selling a fake injury to, and then of course he loses. And then both him and Punk act like they actually beat the shit, which they didn't. It was basically shit. They did tell you that Damian Priest is taking Finn Balor on next week. They're having the finals of the women Intercontinental match. Dear God, they have 20 titles in this entire company. It's ridiculous. Yeah. And so, yeah, that was what happened Monday. And Trump went on his little stupid. I think we should make Canada the 51st state. We should take Greenland from Denmark. It's oh God, you want to colonize more places? No, I don't think Canadians want to be ruled by you, Trump. You're not. This is how dumb. I just had all that just to get. But dear God, it's been a fucking week of a false flag. I could have shown you the videos and everything. I figured you've seen them, so I didn't want to really waste your time on that. I just wanted to throw all this stuff together to get everything caught up. Justin Trudeau said he will resign, but now they have to elect a new prime minister. The people in government have to pick a new prime minister. See, Canada, Japan, and England have this thing where the people do not pick the prime minister. They pick the party that they want in charge, and then that party picks someone to be the prime minister. So the voters have no actual say in who will become the prime minister. And in England, the King Charles has to also agree that this person will be the prime minister. Apparently, that's how that works in England. Yeah. So, unlike this country, you really don't get to pick your leader. You pick the party, and then the party puts the leader in. Yeah. So, I wanted to cover this real quick. So yeah, I'm going to watch more movies, like classic 50s movies, because I love that stuff. I do. Without those movies, like I said before, you don't have your modern movies. Um, those people cared more about putting a movie out that would entertain people than half the shit we have now. The Wolfman by Lee Winnell looks like shit. I'm not excited for it. Neither did I see. I've not seen his The Invisible Man because it was stupid. The original was about a guy who made himself invisible and went crazy after he couldn't undo it. He couldn't turn himself visible. It's not about a guy stalking his ex or whatever, like in the fucking Lee Winnell, Invisible Man. It's about a scientist who literally found a way to turn himself invisible and then could not undo what he had done. It drove him crazy. Yeah. See, that's the thing. And the Wolfman, I'll say this, I do like the Anthony Hopkins and Benicio del Toro because you had Rick Baker come in. Yes, they CGI'd some of it, but he worked on the Wolf for the movie. I actually think it was an entertaining film. I like the fact that the twist was that it was his father that bit him, turned him into a wolf, and that's kind of tragic. Your own father turned you into a monster. And I thought it was a good movie. A lot of people didn't. I may do a whole review of that, but I just want to put that in there. Compared to this dog shit they're calling Wolfman, looks stupid. I'm not eager to see it. Just like there's one Popeye movie there's this one I forget what it's called Popeye. This newer one that's coming out looks like a ripoff of Friday the 13th called Popeye's Revenge, and they literally took Friday the 13th and replaced Jason, which, by the way, the first Friday the 13th, Jason was not the killer, it was his mother. But they're taking the idea that Popeye drowned as a kid and he comes back for revenge. Well, that would be in the sequel, but it looks really like shit. And so, yeah. And I saw Mr. H talking about it, so yeah. And gaming is kind of crap, and, and I did buy, like I said, I would love to do more live streaming on, if I can get the video to do it on Rumble, I would. Hell, I'd love to have people come on, yeah, I try to get word. If I get a live intro video done, I might start live streaming, but on my channel on Rumble under Panzer Dragon. This is Gilgamesh. I will talk to you later. Bye.